Welcome everybody on Coaching Live. It's a very special day today, February 29. It's a leap day.
Exactly, a leap day in a leap year, and we have a leap movie.
Yes, and you're part of the leap movement. Let's have a look today what we're going to cover and what you're going to discover in this episode. First, we're going to show our schedule to the world's #1 productivity expert, David Allen, and he wasn't impressed. Then we are going to get coached and you'll get insights how you can deal with money from Maria Niemet, a coach from the Leap movie. You're going to discover an amazing, extraordinary story, how Bill survived. He would be dead by now if he wouldn't have been coached. And we're going to go and dive together into the exciting film set of the Leap movie with tips from Leap coaches.
We have a special surprise for you. We are now connected on Skype with Betsy Chassie, the director of our Leap movie. And we are wondering, Betsy, how is the editing going?
The editing is going quite well. We're working hard, and we've got a lot of footage to sift through and make sense of and try to tell a story with, and all is going well.
Could you reveal at least one small secret from what are you planning? At least something really, really very small that you can reveal right now about what you are editing.
Well, I think that it's an interesting film. I think it's going to be a really good film. It's interesting when you take real people and put them in the process. And for us, at least I know for me, I really wanted it to be authentic. I didn't want to make it feel fake or make it feel like we were setting things up. And so, it's interesting to watch the clients as they go along their journey. And, I think that while so far we haven't had any major big, oh my gosh, billion, Precious didn't turn into a billionaire overnight, and Rob didn't win an Academy Award last night. It's been really beautiful to watch the transformations and to watch them go through real life situations. And I think the audience, when the film is finished, is really going to appreciate that these are real people with real life problems, really trying to make changes in their lives, and what they're learning from the coaching, and whether they're actually taking the coaching and doing something with it, or whether they're not. It really shows up in terms of how it impacts their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. The life is happening every day. There's something changing with our coaching clients. Sometimes it's for better, sometimes it's for worse. Sometimes they have a turning point. Sometimes they stop believing in the idea of coaching. So how do you define where is a good moment to stop, to leave them alone and switch off the cameras?
Well, it's been hard because we don't get to follow them every single day. It's not like we have cameras rolling on them 24/7. So we've just kind of been checking in with them. And you never know. Certain clients are doing really well, and we could stop filming right now, and other clients, may never be finished, and we just have to kind of just, be done with the movie. And what you start to learn is that, coaching, what I've learned as I've observed all the different clients and the different styles of coaching is that coaching really works for someone who really wants it to work. And that ultimately, it's really up to the client to do the work, and it's really up to the client to take in what they're hearing. Because for us anyway, I'm sure there are bad coaches. We have really great coaches in the movie, so they've been given some amazing opportunities, and you can see what happens when somebody really takes in what they're learning and does something with it versus someone who really just doesn't.
A question for you, Betsy, here from the audience. What is the most difficult for you in making this film?
Well, I think what's difficult in any film like this is that a lot of people have really big expectations because they have this desire to create a narrative, and they want everything to be scripted, and they have this picture in their head of what it's supposed to look like. And for me, what I want to do, as I'm a documentarian, I'm documenting real people, and so sometimes it's kind of boring and not very interesting, and to try to, even in those quiet, subtle moments where it doesn't look like anything amazing is happening, to really show how something really amazing is happening, and to really share these people's honest, authentic stories.
Today is Leap Day, Betsy, so happy Leap Day to you. And because it's Leap Day, we thought let's introduce a challenge for everybody today, and you can share your challenge on the chat window as well. And the challenge is, do something that you're afraid of. Go out of your comfort zone, do something completely new. And what I would be afraid of, for example, what I'm going to overcome in this episode today.
In this episode?
Yes, in this episode. During the coaching session with Maria Niemet, that you'll experience in this coaching live episode, I was speaking about something that I would be really embarrassed about if it came out. And you're going to discover it. I'm going to show it even to you, to everybody out there. So that's my Leap Day Overcoming Fear Challenge today. Betsy, do you have any idea what you could decide or do today that...
Can be tomorrow?
Yeah, that would be a symbol for Leap Day.
I don't know. I'm kind of being put on the spot. I mean, I tend to live my life way out there anyway. I think that... I don't have anything in particular that says, oh, today's my day to do something that I'm scared of. I kind of do something every single day that I'm a little scared of. I tend to try to push my own boundaries in terms of what I'm doing, what I'm exploring in my own life. So I don't have anything. Sorry, that's very boring. That would not make for very good movie making.
Thank you for sharing, Betsy. I think it's overcoming a challenge of sharing this already. So.
Yeah, it's a good one. And actually, Patrick asked me also before the show, maybe you have something that you could share that you can do today. I said, today? It's already 7 p.m. How I can find something, really scary to do today? It's almost 9. So
Project Hire Moms. We do something scary today. It's called being a mom. My scary thing today was that I woke my children up for school. You never know what you're going to get with a preteen anyway. So, that was my big moment.
And what did you come up with, Kasia?
So I will do it tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. But I have a plan to publish different articles and videos that the idea was somewhere inside me for a long time, but for some reasons I was maybe not afraid, but I was blocked to do it. This is something that I really wish to do it because it follows my heart. It follows what I have inside, my voice, my drive. So I'm going to finally do it this week.
All right, good. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Betsy, for joining us, and see you on the next episode also. Thank you, bye-bye. And if you're thinking about the challenge, one of the things that maybe you could challenge yourself of is increasing your productivity. We're going to have a look at a coaching session that we had with David Allen, who's the world's #1 productivity expert. And maybe you come up with a tip or an insight from that coaching session, because he shares a lot of practical things, how you can become more productive. Maybe you'll find something there to go over a new boundary in your life or business. So let's experience that.
The whole point of this is in 30 seconds, you should see every single thing you're not doing. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you can't be fully present with what you are doing, because some part of you says, but there's still stuff over here, or there's still stuff over here. Mm-hmm. So it makes a huge difference. If you've captured and organized 95%, you don't know that it's 95%, because you don't know what's lurking in the 5%. So the only time you're going to know when nothing is on your mind is when truly nothing is on your mind, how much you have. So you know, I sit on two sides of this, because one part of me says, look, if you just implement any of this, it's going to improve your life and your condition. If you just write a few more things down than you used to, you'll feel better. Keep a pad and pen by the bed, you'll sleep better. So even any little bit of this, as we say, this is not like running with scissors. I mean, none of this hurts, right? Everything is going to improve your sense of having more control and more appropriate focus. At the same time, the whole is a lot greater than the sum of the parts. Once your whole system is truly intact and you truly have a fully externalized brain, meaning your mind is truly clear to only make choices off your options, then that's a whole different game. This just shifts the paradigm.
Yeah, and actually what you're saying right now brings us to a point where I feel that I'm missing something and there is a hole missing that could solve quite a lot, which is that I know what to do and how to do it, and I know that in the morning I should start with the fast, low-hanging fruit and complete the to-do tasks. However, consciously, I don't do it because it feels like work, and I want my life to be, well, I saw it also in one of the videos, more spontaneous. And I like to do something and then do something else and then come back to it and then do something else. And it tends to be messy. I like that. I like the feeling of that. And I get a lot of things done because we're making a movie. We have an international company in 20 countries. So things work. But I wonder, how can I improve that while keeping the feeling that it's all playful?
What makes you think it needs improvement?
Because I tend to spend much more time on things than I shouldn't. So when I start the document, I could finish it, but I don't. I do something else, and I have to go back to it and start from this almost from scratch, reminding myself, what was this about actually?
Yes, actually, because we work together, and what I see that Patrick, for example, he opened an email, and then he closed it again as unread, and then he will open it again next day, and then he would close it as unread.
You've nailed a big issue most people have, and we refer to that as the stacks.
Stacks.
Where you pick it up and you go, and you put it down again. You open the email and go, and you close it up again. Now, it's tricky because there are times, and this really gets down to some of the subtlety that I was talking about. There are times where sleeping on it and letting it incubate is exactly what you need to do. As a matter of fact, there's an executive admonition to avoid decisions to the last responsible moment. Now that's a pregnant statement, because the last responsible moment means, because there might still be further data, better data for the decision that you're about to make. You know,
yes.
It might be premature. So it's possible to do that. It's interestingly, if you were going to get really discreet with the GTD process, you could create an email folder that says incubate. In other words, don't mix it in, because if you mix it in with other things, if people, and most people that haven't been trained in this process, are using their email inbox as reference, trash, action reminders, all kinds of things, and the brain just goes numb to that because it means so many different things. The brain just doesn't have the energy all day long to keep resorting what those things mean.
So this inspires me to do the following as an action step. I'll put it in my calendar in just a moment. Is to make a folder Kasia to decide.
Okay.
And I come with stuff to her, and she decides about it, how to deal with it, and then I deal with it.
All right.
Would you like to have a look at our calendar, at our schedule, how it looks, and give some feedback on it?
Sure. Is it just do you have all of your actions on your calendar, or do you have action lists?
We have separate action lists for example, our web developer. He has an online list which is shiftable with dates and everything.
Right.
So that's separate.
I have green stars for my assistant, emails that she has to respond.
So yes, in our email we have some things about email specifically.
Right.
But these are things that we need to do and are marked with different colors. So for example, green usually is a training that we give, and it's marked so we know what it is about. And then blue is Yeah, what is it actually?
I don't know, because what I do, I'm switching off many colors to...
Purple are birthdays, so that's easy.
To be able to
Or
see
Is this
my
a joint
meetings.
calendar for both of you?
Yes.
Actually, I'm switching, normally when I have my own meetings, I'm switching off most of the colors to see only my meetings, because then it's too much for me.
Okay.
And the problem with this calendar is that it's more kind of, look at this one. Kasia Zebra is Jack, mails, Robin gone, I, millionaires. What's that?
That's autocorrection.
So,
Kasia is not a zebra, but that's just autocorrected while I was busy on the
and
phone.
I don't have any idea what is it about. So what I'm
this
doing,
is
I'm
fine.
switching it off.
But let's have a look at a few of those. So, for example, here, find, call, visit a crowdfunding person. I know exactly what to do, a crowdfunding person that I was looking for. Here, put installments.
Are you
on our
going to do
website.
that specifically at that time?
No.
Oh, this is
I'm-
the
it's
problem. This
just
is the next
there
problem.
To remind me.
So it
that I
can be
have to
hanging
protect
there for
That's awful.
sometimes for
That
3
would
months.
really get in your way.
Yeah, and he will be looking at it, and he will have his agenda full of those small things, and it will be hanging like this, and he will be probably putting it in the new date. Yes.
You don't have a list of just calls to make?
Not in here, no.
Right. Now, the calendar is sacred territory for me, because that has to be a place in an instant I look to see what'll die if I don't do it today. What's the hard landscape of the day?
Okay, so that's
And that-
pretty okay with this.
No.
No, the calendar is sacred territory. It has 3 things on it. Mine does, and best practice, 3 things. One is appointments, so you know where you need to be when. The second thing is anything that has to happen specifically on that day. Any time is fine, but it has to happen Thursday. So you want to be able to park that somewhere that says that's different than an appointment. In most calendars, the workaround is to make it an all-day event. For instance, an Outlook. I'm not sure that
This
you can,
iCalendar on
I think
similar.
I think you can do that.
It's
so you can
possible,
put it
yes.
there. So you might have 3 phone calls you need to make then.
And that's
then-
an all-day event.
that's an all-day event. Yeah. So the first thing you look at is where do I need to be when. Second thing you look at is what else needs to happen in between the lines of the specific hard appointments. And then the third thing that goes on the calendar is what do I need to know about that day or on that day. That is, I need to know that the website's got to be up and running by then. The red flag information that I need to know. I need to know that Kasia is going to be doing X, Y, and Z that day. I don't need to do anything about it, but it's good to know she's going to be gone for the afternoon. Once the day is handled, then I turn to the action list. Go, okay, now all the others, and most people have over 100 discretionary next actions, stuff to talk to people about, errands to run, things to do on the phone, things to do on the computer, emails to send, websites to serve. If you actually experience what it'd be like not to have that at all,
I'm going to do that.
and that's why we use now a metaphor of the surfboard and a surfer. You know, mind like water, but many times the water is like a big heavy wave, right? But you want a surfboard to surf on top of it. So GTD is a platform that allows you to surf on top of the water. But good surfers always have an ankle tether, right? Why? Because when they fall off, it lets them get back on very quick. As a matter of fact, knowing that you have an ankle tether and can get back on will let you surf bigger waves, take bigger risks. And that's the real value of GTD. Is not that you live in some sartorial, a mountaintop. There's nothing wrong with that. It's really, when people ask me, they say, David, do you ever feel out of control? Look, if you're not out of control at least 3 or 4 times a day, you're probably not playing a big enough game. So it's not about always being in some, passive state. It's really about being able to be creative, be as creative as you want to be, and be able to pull up the rear guard, essentially. Because, by the way, it's the most creative, aspirational, productive people that throw themselves most out of control. That's why they're the people most attracted to GTD, the people who need it the least. They're all, and the reason, and it used to puzzle me, why is that true? And it was true because what this system does is it relieves drag on your system. And who's most interested in getting rid of drag? The fastest people.
So, Patrick, what are the next steps? did you fulfill what you were thinking about in October during this
Yes,
coaching
well,
session?
the coaching session that you saw with David Allen, the world's #1 productivity expert, has taken place in October indeed. And by then I have implemented all the action steps that we discussed. And I must say my schedule, it looks a lot better, a lot more concise, a lot more clear. I have different colors, like he explained in the strategy, the way that he explained. And I feel that I can do about between 15 to 25% more during the day. I was already very productive, but I've been able to increase that. And especially, I have much more mental clarity. What do I have to do and what not? So that definitely worked for me.
Yeah, and the feedback for you is that it helps also me to communicate with you, because you have this clarity, and I can see this in the agenda. So finally we have our business meetings, and I know what's going on between our activities.
Much more synchronized now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And much more effective. So great, perfect. I hope that was useful for you as well. And maybe you can write on the chat window, what have you learned from it? What are you going to implement differently from today to become much more productive from what David Allen shared with us? Write it on the chat window on the coachingmovie.com/live. And now we're going to have a look how you can become more in tune with attracting money. And this is what we discussed in our coaching session with Maria Niemet. Let's have a look at this one.
How we could attract more investors. Like now the movie is almost done. We would benefit to have more money for post-production and promotion. How we could attract more. Besides all what we have, some new strategies, what we could do.
Yeah, that's actually a good moment.
Yeah.
Right now, on January the 20th, we're launching the new trailer. And it's a good occasion for people to see how the movie will look. You know, it's tangible, it's real, it's almost finished. And it's a really good moment to attract more investors. The question is, how do we attract right now more investors? What do we do?
We get to this point, this trouble at the border, where everything that we know to do has brought us to this place. And Teilhard de Chardin called it the peduncle. He said that we have these bodies of knowledge that we accumulate. They're called the phyla. And when you complete one phylum, that is to say, one skill set is bringing you to a certain place, we might say as coaches. Then you have to go through something very much like Kasia is talking about. It's called the peduncle, which is like a birth canal. Mm-hmm. And at this birth canal, what happens is that the things that you knew to do in the past don't take you any further. That's part of what I call trouble at the border. But then what happens is that you start looking at different questions that might bring you in small, sweet steps into the next phylum. And you see what Kasia is talking about are relatively small, sweet steps. What do we do next to bring in $300,000?
All right, here is an idea. While you were talking, I had an insight that I was reluctant to ask for more investments in the film with the release of the trailer because I didn't want to show the vulnerability of, hey, it would be good to have more funds. I wanted to show like, hey guys, we're doing amazing, we're doing great, and we don't need anything. But it's not true.
Ah, sweetie. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So right now, that changed my insight. Let's mold those two together in a positive way, which is, hey, we're very successful with this trailer and it's going out there. If you want to come on board, you need to invest. if you want
There
to
you
ride
go.
the train. So thank you very much
There
for
you
that
go.
insight. That's what happened in my mind while you were talking about this birth canal. And yeah, that's it.
It's so great. Thank you for the insight. It's you. You know, you're dancing with this. It's one of the things I really appreciate about the two of you.
Maria is a wonderful coach, and she really knows how to deal with money, with the energy behind the money, because money is a magic fluid in the universe. Sometimes it's related to self-esteem, sometimes it's related to the relationship with others, to your position. And sometimes you think that it doesn't matter if you have money or you don't have money, but for example, example of our movie, it does matter if we would have 2,000 to create a movie, or 20,000, or 500,000 to create this movie. So it matters to create, to really show your vision, to express your vision with the world. What kind of tools you have.
Yes, and we have a look indeed at a few comments from you here live on the show. What Ray said, what is actually really to the point, is Ray says that what I refer to as the coaching session with David Allen, that it wasn't actually a coaching session. It wasn't real coaching there, but because it looks like we received a lot of tips how to rearrange our schedule. You're completely right. Actually, it was a mentoring session.
It was a mentoring session, and the way he does that, it would be a very long process to coach somebody how to create a better agenda, actually. So he was sharing a lot of tools with us, and I think it was very, very useful in this moment.
So yes, that's also the difference between coaching and mentoring that we're going to make in the movie Leap. Also, thank you very much for sharing your insights, somebody else, about that you've taken a resolution today to start your crowdfunding campaign for your to recover from your chronic Lyme illness. So we're very happy to support that. When it's up and running, let us know. We're happy to share it with our public. And actually, somebody else that you'll see on the show in just a moment, Bill from Australia, he had quite a big health issue as well. And he wouldn't have started being coached, he maybe even wouldn't be alive today. So Bill, thank you very much for joining us from Australia at this moment. And we're very curious, could you tell us what was your situation?
I had a property maintenance company which I've been running for 10 years, and I was highly stressed. I was highly overworked. I was not well rested, and I wasn't often, because of the amount of stress and hard sort of effort to run the business, I was a bit of an angry person. You know, I tend to be a little bit of a angry person, not nasty, but just, you know, always moody and tired and angry and stressed. And I woke up one morning and I had a numb sensation in my left foot. And the numbness in my left foot wasn't a big deal, but what it did, over 7 days, the numbness spread from my toe all the way up to the left side of my body, and including my face and the entire part of my left side of my body. So after avoiding it for 7 days, I went to the hospital, and the doctors discovered that I had a bleed on the brain. And it was bleeding in an area that was very difficult to get to, and the doctors weren't certain of what to do. So in my wisdom, from my hospital bed, I was running my business and continuing to operate as per normal, other than the fact that I wasn't there. And 6 weeks later, I went to work against doctor's orders. And although the numbness had gone away this time, they had treated me with some medication, the numbness came back again at work. And this time I ended up going to the hospital again, and they confirmed that there was another bleed. So this time the bleed was about the size of a golf ball, and that blood remained in my head for approximately 3 years. Now, just after that second incident, I couldn't remember my name when I went to hospital. I didn't know who I was. I didn't recognize my wife. And as I started to recover, I started to realize that I had memory problems. I couldn't type an email. I wasn't allowed to drive. I wasn't allowed to go back to work. And I had a very good friend of mine who I'd met a little while earlier, the few months before the first bleed, who was a coach. And I had this instinct that I needed to call somebody to get me back on track, to guide me towards a different version of myself. I didn't know what that looked like or what I was going to be like.
Now, Bill, when you had that coaching, what has changed for you?
What coaching did for me was it gave me an opportunity to see that there are different versions of living my life. And some of them were not supportive of the kind of person that I wanted to be. And some of them were supportive. And that I could use the same skills of being really good at doing what I was doing at the moment, and it wasn't serving me. So I was really good at doing what wasn't working for me. I could actually be really good at doing what is working for me. Well, I'm happy to report that since that day, I haven't had and that was nearly 4 years ago, I haven't had a can of soft drink of any kind. Since that day, I've also stopped eating sugar in every form because sugar actually doesn't help with the healing of blood vessels, and that's what I needed to do. I also began meditating, and I began practicing some balanced breathing exercises to help calm the nervous system and bring me into balance. I work less and charge more for my time, so I can make the same amount of money by not being as physical as I was. My mood is altered, so I'm not as cranky as I used to be. Although I'm not perfect and I have bad days, I'm a lot better than I used to be. So what people can learn from me is they need to know that there are studies that show that people that work more than 55 hours a week are 40% greater risk of having a stroke. And that takes many things into consideration. So what I would say to the people is if you're doing it tough right now and you need new ways to learn how to become a better version of yourself, I would tell them to seek out the assistance of a coach who's going to guide you and support you and believe in you and not judge you and help you become the version of yourself that you want to be. Because at the moment, you're just probably living a version of yourself that has evolved without you realizing that it's not necessarily serving you to be the way that you are.
I was wondering after this testimony from Bill, thank you, Bill, very much for what you shared with us.
Thanks for sharing, yes.
And I was wondering how many times we are also going numb with our life, with what we do, and also we don't pay attention. Maybe we don't pay attention what's going on in our relationships, what's going on with our body, what's going on with our work. I remember once I had a situation that I had an enormous pain with my hip, and you know, I was in paradise. We just landed in India, and there was a sea and coconut palm trees. Everything was perfect. So I started swimming and doing a lot of activities. At the same time, we were also working. And after 3 weeks, I developed so painful hip that I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk down the stairs, and then I didn't know what's going on. And I had it for several days, and I was afraid that I would just stay like this forever. And then I have a wonderful session. It was partially coaching session, partially a physiotherapy session, when I realized that the problem is not about my hip, but it's about my stress that I was experiencing during my business calls. And actually it started with my neck, but it went to my hip. And
so myself, I wasn't conscious about that I was experiencing stress. I was just going numb on my stress. I didn't care. So how many times we don't care about our bodies, about our relationships, about what is really precious?
And what maybe could help you today also to get more tips, how to become more conscious of what you think, of your beliefs, of what happens and goes on in your mind, and how you can change that thanks to coaching or mentoring or similar forms of transcending your beliefs. Well, let's have a look at the tips that the LEAP movie coaches have for you to be more successful in life and business, straight from the LEAP movie film set. Hi, Carol.
Do I get to hold Thomas?
Yes, we have.
Thomas wouldn't like me to hold him.
Yeah, if you like.
I get hiccups a lot, Thomas. Hello.
Hiccup, but he's still fine.
Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Well, we need Cherie for 30 seconds in just a moment.
We have more people. Yes. So, Carol, if you would like to tell more to our audience some secrets, how you can grow your business. You are a business coach in the movie here.
The secrets. So my best secret is that you are your best marketing tool. People don't get that. So they're looking for marketing through programs and through other methods instead of understanding that when you're congruent with your message, but congruent with what you want and how you feel, you exude what people want. They want to see, they want to do it the way you're doing it because you come across with passion and inspiration and excitement. And I've had more people come to me from that for that reason, because they say, you seem happy, you seem free, you're enjoying what you're doing. So the congruence is there. So I would say the best secret, and people say, oh no, I want something more concrete, right? They want something that feels more like a method. This is good enough. So be your own best marketing tool.
And what about the YES code?
Oh, and the YES code. So what I help people do is go inside and get their own yes or no. Because what happens is, I want to do what you think I should do. I want to do what you think I should do. And we're pulled in so many directions that we can't get our internal answer that says, this is right for me. Right? We all are kind of living other people's lives. So what I help people do is be quiet long enough to go into their heart and get the message. Is this a yes or a no? On every decision, not just the huge decisions, but even the little decisions. Should I buy this program? Should I go to this coach? Should I do this to my website? Everything. And once you get tuned into the yes, one yes at a time, you will create an incredible life.
And of course it was yes for the movie.
Yes for the movie.
Excellent. Great. So let's go to other coaches. Here we have another group seating.
Yes, let's have Cherie for a moment.
Oh yes, let's have Cherie for a moment.
I'm here.
Yes.
Thank you, Cherie, for joining us. Cherie Carter-Scott.
Yes, I'm thrilled.
Our first executive producer. You know, this movie is happening thanks to you because you were the first.
Yes, well, you inspired me. And you inspired me with your vision. You inspired me with the passion that you and Kasia have about this film. And since I've had this passion for the last 4 decades without the guts that you have, I said, I'm in. No matter what, I think that the world needs to know about coaching. And I so respect both of you for your willingness to put a stake in the ground and say, we're going to do it.
Thank you very much, Cherie. Now, the question for the audience that the audience would like to know from you: how can people feel more that passion, develop that? If they don't have it right now in their lives, how do they find it?
Well, you have to ask yourself, what do you enjoy? What do you like to do? What's important to you? What gets you angry? What gets you excited? What gets you really happy, ecstatic? Because when the molecules inside you start moving, really, really moving, it's an indication that you are committed and engaged in something, just like Patrick and Kasia are engaged in this film. And that's what we want for you. We want you to be engaged in this passion in your own life because you have it. You have it within you. And we want you to listen, to feel, to connect, and to step out and go for it.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
All right, let's see who else we have.
We have Marla here, or with his husband.
Marla, come and join us.
The relationship coach that is also part of the movie.
You guys hired Rob?
Yeah, we hired Rob. Yeah.
So
He's got a job.
He's got a job, yay!
Would you like to reveal us more about what are the secrets of having great, successful relationships? I know that you also teach small businesses and how they can achieve great connection with their employees and grow great companies.
Okay, so success in relationship is really, there's several components, but one is obviously communication. Doesn't everybody talk about communication? That's one of them, right? And we teach Jamie and I teach a great form of communication. When this happens, I feel these feelings. So it's feeling based, not story based, not he said, she said. We're cut to the chase kind of people. And relationally, as far as relationships with your spouse or your significant other and relationships with businesses, it's all about being able to share, learn to share from the heart and be vulnerable when it's safe, but then also be safe when it's not okay to be vulnerable, and learning the techniques to get there. And really the foundation, one of the foundations is forgiveness. And forgiveness does not make it okay that someone has hurt you. Forgiveness does not mean that you let that person free from the thing that they've done. It's for your heart to let that go. And so foundationally, when you're able to do that, you can be vulnerable and connected when it's safe to be. And then when it's not safe, you're able to guard your heart and learn how to communicate effectively in that space of guardedness that doesn't feel fake or distant. So.
Yeah, and you've been coaching on forgiveness in the film as well, so we're very curious.
Yes, yes. Forgiveness is one of those things that is really difficult to understand. Most people think that forgiveness is letting someone off the hook, or allowing someone to get away with something. It's absolutely not allowing someone to get away with something. The powerful thing about forgiveness is it releases your heart. It helps you to be free, to then open up that space of intention for relationship. And that's with anybody. You know, that's with you know, our client, Chad, he's now opening up a space for a relationship to step into that space. And that's super exciting. So it's releasing all that stuff that he burned and being ready for the next thing. And you guys, I know, are a huge part of that. And telling him, we're not really seeing it right now, Chad. What is it that we want to see it in your eyes? And we want to see it in your body. And you guys are fabulous.
You're fabulous. Thank you very much, Marla.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you very much.
So it was a great lesson on relationship. We have also a relationship with our baby Thomas, who is our first, and maybe not the first, but the greatest coach we ever had.
And he has a hiccup.
Yes, he has a great hiccup today.
Thank you very much. So that were a few tips how you can take your leap also today. As you know, it's Leap Day, so overcome or decide to overcome a challenge today. And if you'd like some help from the greatest coaches in the world, we've researched them, they're part of the Leap movie, well, you can actually become part of the Leap movement and join our Leap membership. You can go to coachingmovie.com/M, the letter M for membership or movie, and there you will find that you can get a coaching session already for $1 from the greatest coaches that are part of our community. So join us there if you want to take your leap today.
And maybe the last thing that we would like to share with you is, you know, Rob from the trailer, he was skydiving. He was afraid of heights and he jumped.
Quite a leap.
Exactly. And it wasn't only about him jumping, but we all had to jump. All the film crew, we had to take the leap together with Rob. And it was really very scary.
It was very scary.
And I remember myself that first, actually, 5 people from the team, they wanted that I coach them how to overcome the fear of jumping.
And I coach all of them, and I coached Rob, I coached all of them before the jump, and then I got really scared and I had to ask Patrick to coach me so I can really do it. And you know, it's not the first thing that you would do as a breastfeeding mother to jump from the plane, but it really changed a lot in my perspective. I felt that this is just, you know, a jump, but when you really will think what is happening with your brain, in your mind, with your emotions, so it gives you a lot of power and courage. And the question for you, what can you do in the next month that would be different from what you do every day? What would you do differently? What would you do less or more? What would you do that would take you out of the comfort zone? What would you do to take a risk? What would you do to take a leap?
We're looking forward to hear from you on our next episode in a month from now, how you have taken your leap. And let's take a leap together, together with the film and the movement that we're creating. And you're a big part of that. So thank you very much for being here today.